Callie Monroe never expected a rundown hospital to be the key to her next big project. When she bought the abandoned building, it was for a new garage space to expand her mechanic business. But as she began to uncover the secrets buried within its walls, she realized she had bought more than just old bricks and concrete. Deep beneath the hospital, a hidden government bunker was waiting, filled with dangerous secrets that someone would stop at nothing to protect. What began as a renovation turned into a battle for truth, survival, and redemption. Before we dive into Callie's incredible journey, let us know where you're watching from. And if stories like this ignite your curiosity, hit that subscribe button because tomorrow's episode will take you even deeper into the mystery than you ever thought possible. The sun had just begun to rise, casting its golden light across the cracked pavement of Old Mill Road. Callie Monroe stood outside the decaying structure, her worn leather boots sinking slightly into the grass, the faint smell of rust and old medical supplies in the air. The abandoned hospital had been up for sale for years, its walls scarred by neglect and time. Callie wasn't expecting much, just a place to park her growing collection of tools and vehicles. At least, that's what she told herself when she signed the paperwork. She hadn't imagined a new beginning, let alone a secret. Her hands were already covered in grease from the repairs she'd been doing on a few side projects. Buying an abandoned hospital had been a strange choice, even for her. But something about the place called to her. The price was right, and it had the space she needed. A part of her wondered if she was just tired of her small, cramped shop in town. Maybe it was the thrill of doing something different. Or maybe it was destiny. Either way, this hospital was about to change everything. Callie's first step into the hospital's foyer was like stepping back in time. The floor was covered in a thick layer of dust, and the walls seemed to breathe with the weight of years of abandonment. She had only visited once before to inspect the building, and what had struck her then was how eerily quiet it felt. Now, as she moved deeper into the building, there was an almost palpable sense of something lurking beneath the surface. She'd heard the rumors. The hospital had shut down suddenly, with no explanation, and the town had never really spoken about it after. People said it had something to do with experiments, though no one had ever confirmed what kind of experiments. The building had been left to rot, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was hiding here, something important. Over the next few weeks, Callie worked tirelessly, peeling back the layers of grime and decay that had accumulated over the years. But the deeper she dug, the more unsettling the discoveries became. One afternoon, while clearing out the old records room, she found an old map of the hospital's layout tucked in the back of a drawer. The map was old, yellowed with age, but what caught her eye were the markings on the bottom floor. A series of rooms marked with a symbol she didn't recognize, one she later found repeated on several hospital files. The further she examined the documents, the clearer it became that this hospital had secrets. Secrets that no one wanted to remember. It wasn't until Callie ventured into the hospital's basement that she found the door. She'd been working through the mess of old medical equipment, trying to make room for a new workspace, when she noticed something odd, a rusted steel door that was sealed shut, almost as if it had never been opened. She felt an instinctual pull toward it. The door was unlike anything else in the building, its markings unfamiliar. After some digging, she managed to pry it open with a crowbar. What lay behind it was nothing short of unexpected. The bunker was hidden deep beneath the hospital, its walls lined with technology that felt outdated but strangely advanced at the same time. She wasn't sure what she had expected, but it wasn't this. The place was filled with old files, photographs, and equipment, all seemingly connected to government experiments and classified projects. The documents detailed subjects, numbers, and strange codes, but no real explanation of what had been happening beneath the hospital. As she flipped through the papers, a sinking feeling filled her chest. This wasn't just a forgotten chapter of history. It was a dangerous secret waiting to be uncovered. Callie spent the following days combing through the contents of the bunker. Each room seemed to tell a different story, but none of them made sense. There were journals from doctors, researchers, and military personnel, all of whom had disappeared, their fates never mentioned in the documents. The more she read, the clearer it became. The experiments conducted here weren't just about science or medicine, they were about control. about manipulating something that should never have been tampered with. She knew she had to find out more, but she wasn't sure if she was ready for the truth. It didn't take long before someone else took an interest in Callie's discovery. One afternoon, a man in a dark suit showed up at the hospital. His demeanor was calm, his voice low and commanding. He introduced himself as Agent Jacob Pierce, though something in his eyes made it clear he wasn't there to make small talk. He knew what Callie had uncovered, and he wasn't happy about it. His warnings were clear. She needed to stop digging into the past, or there would be consequences. But Callie wasn't one to be intimidated. If anything, the agent's visit only fueled her desire to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The deeper Callie went, the more she uncovered. The project, which she now realized had been codenamed Project Midnight, was far darker than she could have imagined. The government had been experimenting on civilians, using the hospital as a front for their work. The subjects were never given a choice, their minds and bodies manipulated for a cause no one understood. There were records of disappearances, of families who never saw their loved ones again. As she pieced the puzzle together, a chilling thought crossed her mind. The project hadn't ended when the hospital closed. It had simply gone underground, waiting for someone to find it. And now, that someone was her. Callie's mind raced as she realized the danger she was in. People would stop at nothing to keep the truth hidden, and she had become a target. It wasn't just her own life at risk anymore, it was the lives of anyone who got too close to the bunker. The government would do whatever it took to silence her. As the stakes grew higher, Callie knew she had to act fast. She couldn't just walk away. The truth had to come out, no matter what the cost. With only a few allies left, she made a plan to expose the secrets hidden beneath the hospital, and finally put an end to the government's twisted experiment. In the end, Callie faced a choice. Reveal the truth to the world and risk her life, or destroy the bunker and its secrets forever. She chose the former. With a network of journalists and activists, she released the files she had uncovered, bringing Project Midnight into the light. The government was forced to answer for its actions, and though it cost her everything, Callie knew she had done the right thing. She had uncovered the truth, not just for herself, but for the families who had been torn apart by the project. And as the dust settled, she found herself standing in the wreckage, not just as a mechanic, but as a protector of the truth. The bunker was no longer a secret. The world now knew what had happened beneath the abandoned hospital, and Callie had made sure it would never be forgotten.